everybody. Welcome to Metal Math on a fun Friday. Give me a second, I'll be right with you. Okay, today I want to go over the Chapter 8 mid-chapter checkpoint because many of you that did try it, I see you didn't do very well on it, so I want to just go over that with you now, refresh you a little bit, and hopefully get you on track. So what I'd like you to do is if you could open up to the mid-chapter checkpoint. If you don't have your book, obviously you don't have your books for this because it's Chapter 8. We didn't give those books out yet. Go to Think Central, Chapter 8, mid-chapter checkpoint. Okay, and the first question, just fill in the blanks. We have a blank of a number is the product of the number and a counting number. And that answer, see if you can figure it out. You only have three choices. The answer would be multiple. Okay. Number two, a blank always has a numerator of 1. A blank always has a numerator of 1. And the answer there is unit fraction. Okay, give me a second. I just want to shut this off. All right. Okay, now, numbers 3 and 4. It says list the next 4 multiples of the unit fraction. Our first fraction is 1/2. Okay, 1/2. And it says to list 4 multiples of the unit fraction. Basically what you need to do here is you're going to keep your denominator the same and just keep adding 1 to the numerator. So we would go 1/2, 2/2, 3/2, 4/2, and eventually 5/2. Okay? That's what the first one should look like. Okay, number 4 is 1/5. So with 1/5, like I said, we just want to keep the denominator the same, keep adding 1 to the numerator. So we would go to 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, and eventually 5/5. Now all of you should recognize whenever we have the same numerator and denominator, that equals 1, 5/5. Here we have an improper fraction because our numerator is larger than our denominator. And remember, fractions are just like division. Okay, so basically what you would do here is you have your 5, bring it down, divide it by 2. Okay, and that's how you would figure that out. Okay, let's move on to the next few problems here. It says, write the fraction as a product of a whole number and a unit fraction. And it gives us a fraction of 4/10. Okay, now the hint here is, look at the numerator. Okay, the numerator is a 4. So we're going to take that and use that as our whole number. So we have 4, and our denominator is 10. How do we get 4/10? We do 4 times, what's your denominator? 10. That's our unit fraction, 1/10. So 1/10. You would have 4 times 1/10 equals 4 and 1/10. Okay? Next one is 8/12. Okay, when we look at 8/12, look at our numerator. Our numerator is an 8. That's our whole number. Our unit fractions are going to have a denominator of 12. Unit fraction always has 1 as a numerator, so it would be 8 times 1/12. Okay? And then number 7 has 3/4. Once again, numerator becomes the whole number times, look at our denominator, 4, and we want to make it a unit fraction, which always has 1 as a numerator, and that would be 3/4 equals 3 times 1/4. That's how you figure out writing a fraction as a whole number times a unit fraction. Okay? Just in case you couldn't see that, I'm going to move this a little closer. hopefully give you a better view of the board. Let's see, here we go. There you go. And remember, kids, you could always pause this video whenever you want, so you can stop and get a better look at everything. Okay? So there's the first set of problems on the mid-chapter checkpoint. Now, kids, let me remind you, too, some people are still not handing in all of their work. And remember, these assignments that I give you are like homework assignments, and they count just like homework assignments. If you don't do one, you lose points as if you did not do a homework assignment, okay? All right, let's move on. Actually, let me clear this page for you. As I knock all my remotes all over the floor. All right, let's move on now with our next question. Okay, the next question says, list the next 4 multiples of the fraction, okay? And our first fraction is 2/5. Now let me show you how to do this one. We have a fraction of 2/5. And we want to list the next 4 multiples. Once again, we're going to keep our denominator the same, okay? And multiples basically mean multiply. Okay, so if we have 2/5, 2/5 times 2 would be 4/5. There's our first multiple. Okay? Then we're going to add another 2. And that would give us 6/5. So basically what we're doing here is we're just adding 2 to our numerator as we go along. So 2 plus 2 is 4. Then 4 plus 2 would be 6. 6 plus 2 is obviously 8. 8 plus 2 would be 10. And there we go. There's our next 4 multiples of the fraction 2/5. Remember, keep your denominator the same at 5. And then we have 2/5, 4/5, 6/5, 8/5, and 10/5. And basically what we're doing, 1 times 2/5 is 2/5. 2 times 2/5, 4/5. 3 times 2/5, 6/5. 4 times 2/5, 8/5. And finally, 5 times 2/5 would give us 10/5. Those are our multiples. Okay, the next one was 5/6. A little bit of a larger fraction here. And once again, see that as being 1 times 5/6. That's our first multiple. What comes after 1? 2. So 2 times 5/6 would give me 10/6. Okay, what comes after 2? 3. So 3 times 5/6 would give me 15/6. And I'm sure you notice a pattern forming here. You can see the pattern already. Our numerator is increasing by 5 each time. So after 15/6, this would be like 4 times 5/6, which would give us 26. And last but not least, 5 times 5/6 would be 25/6. And there you go. There are your multiples of 5/6. Okay? I'll move it a little closer just in case. Okay. All righty. Okay, now we're going to move into some number lines. Okay, they want you to write the product as the product of a whole number and a unit fraction. Okay, so if we have 4 times 2/6, okay, basically what you do here is you have 4 times 2/6. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to see that as 4 times 2, because remember, we can always write a whole number as the number over a 1 to make it look like a fraction. So if you do that, you end up with 8 times 1/6 or 8/6. Okay? And now on the number line, what you have to do is you're going to start at 0 and you're going to jump 2/6 each time. We're going to jump 2/6 each time, 4 times total. So we're going to start at 0. Not sure if you can see the book here. Okay, take a look at the book there. Number 10, we start at 0. We jump to 2/6, and then 4/6, 6/6, and eventually 8/6. And that's how you would use a number line to multiply a whole number by a fraction. Okay, looking at the next one, which is 3 times 3/8. 3 times 3/8. Do what I told you. Imagine that this is a 3 over a 1. And now multiply across. 3 times 3 equals 9. 1 times 8 equals 8. And we have our answer of 9/8. And then once again, when you go to your number line, start at 0. And you're going to jump 3/8 each time. And you're going to do it for a total of 3 times. And there you go. There's number 11. 3 times 3/8. It's really like saying 3 times 3, or 9, over 8 times 1 would be 8, and you therefore would have 9/8 total. Okay? And that's how you use a number line. All right. Now we're going to move on to the word problems, which I know tend to give some of you some problems. So let's take a look at number 12. And it says, Pedro cut a sheet of poster board into 10 equal parts. His brother used some of the poster board, and now 8/10 is left. So he has 8/10 of a board. 8/10 is all that's left. Okay. And now it says, Pedro wants to make a sign from each remaining part of the poster board. How many signs can he make? Okay, well, take a look at our denominator. It's 10, okay? Our numerator is 8. So if we look at this as unit fractions, and remember, unit fractions always start out with a 1 on top. If we have 8 over 10, it's really like saying you have 8 pieces and each one is 1/10. So basically you have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Our numerator is 8, which is the whole number, times 1/10 gives us 8/10. So how many signs can he make? Pedro can make 8 signs, okay, which was the numerator to begin with. So when you see a fraction that says 8/10, basically what it is, take the 10 as your denominator. The unit fraction is 1/10. And if our numerator is 8, that's like saying you can do it 8 times 1/10.